very pleased to be here today with Jennifer Kuhns, who is one of 27 artists we're featuring in our Fresh Talent exhibition this October. These are all artists who have not shown with us before, and we've been aware of Jennifer's work for a while and are very excited to have her work included. I saw your beautiful egg-shaped piece, Fertility, out in front of Town and Country Market for a number of months, and really enjoyed walking past it and getting to see it daily. And I'd love to learn more about your process and how you evolved to the point you are at this time in your career. And we'll ask you to go ahead and start and share some of your backstory, and I'll ask questions here and there as we go. My name is Deborah Rosinski. I'm executive director here at Bainbridge Arts and Crafts, and came here in the middle of COVID, and have been fortunate to get to know a great community of artists here in the Northwest, and learn more about each one through these interviews. So I'm happy to talk to you today, Jennifer.
It's nice to meet you, and I'm excited to be here. So I'm Jennifer Kuhns, and I live in Grays Harbor County, about 30 miles outside of Olympia, kind of toward the ocean area, in a very rural part of the state. So I live on 5 and then some acres with we've got our own, we grow our own food. We have a lot of animals, quite a menagerie with goats and chickens and dogs and cats and various others, and some peacocks. And so it's very serene and peaceful out here, and it's a good fit for me to just, I'm naturally an introvert, and I get to just spend my days in my studio just working on projects. As far as the backstory goes, I going all the way back. I grew up in Michigan as a child, and I was not a fan of the harsh climate, and the area that I lived in, just it didn't have a lot to offer socially, and as far as things to do and ways to connect with people. And so I left when I was 18, and I headed across country. I came to Olympia because I had a relative there, so I had a point of connection, and I had heard about the Evergreen State College, this cool liberal arts school, and it seemed like a good fit for me. So that became my goal. I worked for a year and got residency, and I went to school and graduated in 1993 from Evergreen. Mainly studied cultural studies and art. And so I call it anthropology because Evergreen doesn't have majors and minors, but it's somewhere in the realm of something between anthropology and poli-sci, I would say, has been my interest, and that has really informed a lot of my work going forward. That as a child, I was very interested in folklore and stories. And in college, I discovered more of the ways that those stories connect people globally and culturally, historically. And so that became a real focus of my interest. And I also have become really interested in the way that folk tales and folk art are really all about our connection to nature. It's about our connection to the world and the way we live in the world. And you just see so much that is cross-cultural, that are really similar themes that come up again and again, that are about plants and pollinators and flowers and birds, and those are the things that are sort of foundational to human life and our place in it. And so that has really become a foundational part of the themes of my work. And in a celebratory way, because at the same time, I have a lot of concerns. I understand a lot of what's going on in the world, in the ways that a lot of these systems are threatened right now. But I try to, my catharsis is to create artwork that's positive and joyful and colorful and bright and fun. And so in my 20s, I was kind of just making art that was scrappy, whatever I could get my hands on. I was learning all these different mediums. I worked in ceramics and lino cut and collage and sewing and jewelry making, and just like everything. And what I ended up with was I was going to recycled art fairs and different kinds of bazaars, and I was marketing myself as a recycled artist. That was kind of my focus. And mosaic is something that crept into my work in around my 30s. I sort of became familiar with it, and then I got hooked, and mosaic became more of a passion for me. And I had to kind of put aside a lot of the other, not completely, but the other mediums have gone into their own room. And I discovered stained glass and how to cut it and shape it. And I learned more and more about the good practices in mosaic and how to install things outside that'll last. And I just threw myself into it. I also had a child in 2003, and it became really difficult to balance work and home and being a good mom in the way that I wanted to be, and doing my art and all of that. But I did start to pick up some commissions here and there, and even some with businesses. So I ended up starting to take business classes of all different types, just straight up business. I did a business program through Enterprise for Equity, which is an organization in Thurston County that does amazing things with helping people create micro businesses. So I graduated from their program. I got featured in Olympia's Spring Arts Walk the same year. That was 2007. And my design that I created was really popular. It got a lot of attention, and that kind of kicked off an actual career in art. To my great surprise and delight, I found myself actually doing something I never thought would be possible, which was to earn some semblance of a living from making art. And so then I became driven to make that be more and more successful. And by 2010, I was focusing more on architectural integrated artwork. So I became familiar with ways that you can use mosaic to create backsplashes, floors, murals, but also glass on glass, like I have behind me, where the light shines through. There are just so many ways you can use mosaic. And I also discovered community-based mosaic, where you can engage groups and have a lot of people participate and then assemble it together into something bigger, and where people feel like they have a sense of ownership and empowerment while doing these projects. So all of those things became wrapped up in my business, which little by little grew into something that is sustainable. And I, by 2014, I got hired by a company called L'Occitane, that they sell body care products. They were opening a lot of stores around the US, and they hired me to make mosaic that ended up going into high profile places like the Prudential Center and airports and Time Warner Center and places like that, so that those got added to my resume and really helped boost me into another level of work, where I started to be able to get public art. Some of those projects that I did for them were murals that were larger scale. So I had a chance to show what I could do in a bigger scale like that. And that really helped me move forward and get to where I am now, where I'm doing a lot more public art, but I really still do a mix of public art. I do private commissions and corporate work, where work that today I'm installing an entryway in a business in Olympia, and it's been pretty steady, and it's been really wonderful. There was a point where I stopped doing wall art. Not entirely, obviously, but the commission work really took precedence. And so I don't usually submit to gallery shows. I had a really wonderful experience working with Bainbridge with something new. I loved working with the people at Bainbridge. I really enjoyed being able to having the excuse to visit. Yeah, so the three pieces that I submitted for the gallery show for Fresh Talent are really very much in line with the fertility piece, which was about the abundance of nature, and included all these symbols of that, of the birds and the pollinators and the flowers, and so the three that I submitted for Fresh Talent include one that is about spring, and it's based on an early spring deity out of Europe with the colored eggs, and there's some symbolism of a hare in the moon, things that I painted under the glass and incorporated, and then the birds and the flowers, and then also the image of the woman is a lot like me, has a lot of me in it. So really it's a very personal piece, while at the same time referencing sort of old legends and stories. And then there's the piece with the Tree of Life, and it has the two peacocks, which interestingly, I was making these pieces with peacock pairs in them before I actually was offered a pair of peacocks, and so it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy. But there's also, if you look at that one, there's it's a tree that has fanciful designs in it, and there's a figure of a woman, a stylized woman is like in the tree, sort of as part of it, sort of speaking to that rootedness in nature, and how it's all one. And then what's the third one? The third one is probably my favorite. It's one of my favorites that I've made in recent years, and it's called Manifesto. And it's just it's done using more what's called opus sectile style, where each section is cut from one piece of glass rather than lots of little pieces, with some exceptions made. And it's all these interlocking lines that connect the sun and the floral images, a bird that's like a dove. So just a lot of symbolism around kind of my manifesto, which is to live a peaceful life that's in harmony with nature, and to try to just enjoy it as much as possible while I'm here. And that pretty much sums up the work that I submitted to the show.
The term that you used, using one piece of glass that you've then cut into portions, are you connecting up the streaks and the textures in that piece of glass?
Not so much. A lot of the pieces I used in that one are more flat and don't have so many streaks. It's the lines between the pieces and the way they connect together that help create part of the design. So I'm using the interstices between the glass as a design element, as negative space, and in some places even widening it, thickening it, so that what came from a sketch. So I just took a sketch and I blew it up. But rather than using the more common approach to mosaic, where you chop up lots of pieces and fill each space with a lot of pieces, each space is filled with one piece. And
I see.
Yeah, I do a lot of that. A lot of the work behind me, that's kind of a signature thing for me, is to do a lot of areas of the mosaic that are made from precision cut pieces that fit the space.
So I imagine your technique for cutting has gotten refined over time, and get cut less than in the beginning.
Yeah, I've become pretty adept at cutting glass. It's something that I've definitely gained a reputation for, and I teach classes on it. And so especially in the mosaic world, that's sort of what sets me apart from a lot of other mosaic artists, is that glass cutting skill and the way I use it.
I know you mentioned you raised a child. I think your child is just a few years younger than mine. And I certainly recognize the challenges of that kind of balance at that point in life. And it seems you've really evolved in a beautiful way, and raising your child and building a business. And I was curious about the Enterprise for Equity program, and it seems really beneficial, and it seems like it's done a lot for you. If you don't mind going into that just a little bit more.
Yeah, if you don't mind hearing about this program, because I like to talk about it because they did help me so much. It was 2006 that they talked me into giving it a go, trying this, going to the orientation. And so it was a 3-month training program. And by 2007, I graduated with a business plan that had to get approved by some business coaches. And I just had a lot of tools. It went over things like how to do your taxes and how to get licensed and how to do marketing and how to do research about, your business and what the market will bear and pricing, all of those things, and setting goals and trying to figure out what the plan would be to achieve those goals. And, at the time, my goals were very modest. I wanted to earn an extra $500 a month that would bring us up to, getting our bills paid. And within that first year, I achieved that. And then within a couple of years, I increased that goal and, realized that I would like to make enough money that I could support myself if I needed to. I've been very lucky to have a partner who he's a teacher. He has a steady income. He's been working at his job for 21 years now. And so he's just kind of been the steady income earner and very supportive of me, because there have been a lot of times that it wasn't easy to, and where we had to have big conversations about whether I needed to give this up and go find a career that would pay actual money. And he kept encouraging me to keep at it. We're getting closer, and it paid off, because I was able to be here, take care of the things that needed to get taken care of here, including our kid. She's 19 now. She's, working and transitioning into adulthood, and she seems to appreciate that I have been able to be available for her. Like, she understands the sacrifice that was involved, but also the positives that came out of it. And she can see me now enjoying my life and my success and doing a job that I really like and that I feel like I'm good at. It's really fulfilling. And so it's really nice to be able to set that example also.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think you are a great example for people to look to at, artists bring this kind of kit of tools and skills that are unusual. And I think artists are most challenged with, but also best positioned to be resilient as challenges appear in life. And you've certainly accomplished a lot, and it's nice to have examples like you to show to someone just starting out and say, this is possible to build a life. It just takes time and dedication and some pain along the way, but also, great joy. And
then back to Enterprise for Equity, that just going to that orientation and getting the feedback from a group of people that I then went through the class with, that, yeah, you can do this. You're good at you have potential, and you're good at this, and you can make this work. That probably was the most benefit I got from the class. There were all those other tools that I got, but just having someone encourage me and help guide me and figure out what my focus needed to be was the most benefit that I got. And even after I graduated, it didn't end. The wonderful thing about this organization is that they stay in touch with their graduates. They keep promoting their businesses. And I've been able to come back to them numerous times over the years when I was rethinking something or had an idea and needed a little more guidance. And even in 2020, and right before the pandemic hit, I had sat down with the financial advisor there, and she went through my invoices and my bookkeeping and helped give me some pointers on how I could improve, which was, I am so grateful for that, because then that's when my business picked up, and I really needed the tools that she was kind of giving me, and the encouragement. She was really pushing me to realize that that I've been doing this a long time. I'm a professional, talking about professionalism and pricing and the things that that I needed to she reminded me things I needed to know to be successful. And they've just been there for me all these years. And that's been the case for a lot of businesses in Olympia. So I can't say enough about an organization like this. I think that every city should have them, because there are a lot of businesses that are well known in Olympia that I don't think people realize that that's how they got started. And it's all through a nonprofit that helped. And they also offer grants and loans, and there are all sorts of programs that they've developed.
Well, that's terrific to have that kind of resource available. And we're trying to grow our programs in that way to support artists on a deeper level, because that's a huge part of our mission, is to help kickstart artistic and creative careers. So I was inspired to learn about them. I wasn't familiar with them before because I'm relatively new in the region. So thank you for sharing all of that. And also, just in general, thank you for submitting your work and being a part of this exhibition that will be opening soon. And we hope to meet you in person at the reception if you can.
I'm planning to go, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Great. Yeah, we're excited for the show. It should be a lot of fun meeting all these new folks, very talented folks like yourself.
Thank you.
So I appreciate you taking the time. Good luck with your installation later today, and we'll talk more soon.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. We hope you'll make a point to stop in to see Fresh Talent 2, our second annual juried show, this year juried by Greg Robinson of Bainbridge Island Museum of Art, featuring new artists to the gallery, 27 in total, on view from October 7th through the 30th.